Looks like everybody is here. Uh, One thing, please don't send the invite so late. I was about to cancel the meeting today. Okay. So I would appreciate if the meeting invite comes a bit earlier. Okay,
Sure.
not at 10 for a 10 o'clock meeting.
Yeah. Sorry for that.
Yeah. Um, this week and the next week are going to be extremely hectic for me. I just wanted to give a little update because we are shifting and uh, I have to wrap up an entire lab, which is pretty big. I have to get certain things done by today and then the rest by next Friday. So this week has been tight and next week is going to be. Uh, and because of that, I haven't got the opportunity to take a look at your lesson plans, and I did not get a chance to look at the stuff that you have sent me last night and maybe today morning. So really sorry about that. It has been a bit crazy, and along with that, it's also semester end. So I just want to acknowledge that I have received responses regarding the, one second, regarding the GeoGebra from 7 of you and regarding the properties from 4 of you. Okay. Um, so that's good. So I wish I had seen what you had already sent me, but nevertheless, let me just take a quick A. I believe some of you sent me something on addition, subtraction, right? Addition, properties of addition. Yes, Jennifer sent on properties of addition. But as I can see that it is basically doing a case by case things. That's not what we are talking about. Same thing goes for um, Bakalakshmi. Again, it's a case by case thing that is not sufficient. Uh, so let me share with you what I had in mind and notice. So what I want to tell you is that at the at the primary level or at an initial level, proof is something that is too abstract, but there is something else you can do. See, when you do a case by case thing, you don't know whether it is going to fall apart sometimes later. I mean, it may work for all one digit number, all two digit number, all three digit number, but how can you guarantee it will work for, say, a number with 1 crore digits? Okay. So that is why in mathematics you absolutely need proof. Now, short of proof, what we are trying to aim here is something that can be generalized to any number of that kind. So if you're talking about whole numbers, it should be generalizable for any whole number. If you're talking about fractions, it will be generalizable for any fraction, proper, improper, regardless of that. Okay, same goes for integers, rational numbers, reals, etc. Okay, so that's what we are attempting, a way that can be generalized. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, it says whole numbers, fractions, and integers, but reals and rationals are also there. Okay, so for addition, the basic thing is that when you have two quantities A and B, A is shown on the left and B is shown on the right, and when you combine them, this is where the aggregation aspect is getting utilized. uh, uh, then the total thing is that what is A plus B. So let's take a quick look. So first is commutative property for whole numbers. So this is how you represent 11 plus 4, right? 11 on the left and 4 on the right. Now, if you just rotate the whole thing by 180 degree, or if you just look at it from the other side of the table, let's say, then now it looks like 4 plus 11, right? And all we have done is like change sides or rotated the whole thing. And this can be done for any collection of whole numbers, any two whole numbers. You can put 0 for one of them, or you can have as much as big a number as you can think of, but the same process will work. Okay, you may not be able to do that with manipulatives, etc., but the key idea can be generalized. Okay, similarly, when you have fractions, you can, so for 5 by 3, you'll need two wholes. It's an improper fraction which is between 1 and 2, and so each whole has been split in 3 parts, and 5 such parts have been shaded. So the shaded area represents the fraction. So 5 by 3 on the left and 1/4 on the right. Okay, so again, same thing. When you rotate it or you go to the other side of the table, this is 1/4 plus 5 by 3. Okay. Same thing works for integers. Okay. So 11 plus -4 has now become -4 plus 11. Now, when it comes to fractions, I have basically shown you one possibility. Okay, an improper proper combination. Ideally, this can be done with proper. I mean, you need to cover all different cases. Uh, so there are three possibilities, right? Proper, improper proper, and improper. So all three should be covered in class. Okay, maybe by different groups of students, etc., but they should be exposed to all of this. You can show one and ask them to figure it out for the other two, and this is where you can give them a choice to pick their own fractions, because this should work for any fraction, right? And a teacher needs to help them to make that leap, realize that you can choose any fractions, any two fractions, and this is going to work. That part is very crucial. Okay, that generalizability aspect. So similarly for integers, there are again going to be three possibilities, or even more maybe. Okay, if you consider 0, then even more. But essentially, the three cases you need to consider are positive, which is already covered in whole number, so to speak, but recall that positive, negative, and negative. Observe that because we are doing commutativity, positive negative and negative positive is the same combination, right? You can start with positive negative and show that it's the same as the negative plus positive, or the other way. Okay, but again, covering all possibilities is very important. You don't have to do all in class. You can set some for homework, some for exploration, etc. But they need to get exposure to all possibilities. Okay. Uh, for real and rational, I'm actually going to walk you through all the possibilities, because as mentioned earlier, this is where you cannot get into just manipulatives. It kind of gets combined with number line. Okay. So the first case is when we have A smaller than B and both positive. So A plus B will be something like this, right? And this is B plus A. And you can see that they both end at the same thing, right? So now both negative. Okay. So this is the case for A plus B. And now B plus A. And you can see both end up at the same thing. Okay. Now comes the exciting part when you have a positive negative combination. So clearly now A is negative, right? Because negative A is positive. Also, notice that how what we were doing with counters, we were counting. Now it has become converted into length and colored length. Okay, green for positive and red for negative. That's how the counters we use in integers get generalized to length, and we will see area also when it comes to real and rational and real, because we don't have discreteness, so we cannot use counters, right? So yeah, so now see, A is negative, so it will go to the left of 0, and then from there you get B. So that's what we have, A plus B. B plus A, on the other hand, will first go to B and then go back. And so that's what we have. And now notice. So this was A plus B, right? And now this is B plus A. So here also there is a rotation involved, and you can basically find out where this the center of this rotation is. That is a small tiny homework or quiz. I'll ask you about that later. Okay. So these two are identical. Now so now we have another, I think this is the last case. Again, A is negative, but the magnitude of A is, the negative is bigger. So the sum will end up in the sum will be negative. Okay. So that's A plus B, and now B plus A. Okay. And so you can see that both A plus B and B plus A end at the same place on the number line. And now let's take a look. So that's A plus B, rotate, and again, that's exactly B plus A. Okay. So that's all about commutative property of addition. Now let's get to associative property. In this one, I don't think the PPT does justice, so I'll just tell you what the whole thing is about, and you can do it. It's better to done as a activity. Okay. Again, the basic idea is the same, and it just changes slightly with the number set. And that's a good thing, because you don't have to, you know, bring in new things as you shift from, as you extend your number set. So 7 plus 4, so that's 7 plus 4, right? And then you add 10. So basically, when you have these three groups, 7, 4, 10, it doesn't matter which two groups you are combining first. Now that combination part I couldn't capture very well in PPT, but that's where I have used the partition. So you can combine 7 and 4 together and then mix it up with the 10. Now this can be physically demonstrated very well with, let's say, 3 kinds of counters or 3 kinds of seeds or something like that. Okay. On the other hand, you can have 4 plus 10, okay, and you combine them to get the total, and then you can add 7 to it. Okay, so ultimately it is the same 3 groups, same 3 numbers. It's basically a question that is not changing. That the question is which 2 groups you are combining first. That's where it boils down to. Okay, same thing for fractions. So 5 by 3, 1/4, and you can combine them. Now when we say combine them, again the PPT doesn't do complete justice. You basically put them together so that you have this combined length. See, the height here, the vertical dimension of the square is the same. So it's the horizontal dimension that is proportionate to the fraction that is getting represented. And then you can have the third fraction, and you basically put them together. Or you can start with, you know, the later 2 fractions, combine them first, and then get to the proper fraction, the third one, the first one. Okay. So I'm going to share with you several articles on these, and that in some of these the visuals are better. So use a combination of this PPT and that. Now for integers, again it's the same thing. You, instead of counters of the same color, you will just have different colors. So, you know, also just like in case of commutativity, here also you will get several cases if you take the combination of proper and improper, and this should be tried with all possible combinations. Now the number of combinations here are much larger. We have done here only one combination, you know, improper plus proper times proper, but again you can have all kinds of things. The sum, there will be, you know, 3 possibilities, both proper, both improper, and one proper, one improper, right? So 3 possibilities there. And for this one, the third one, again you will have a possibility of, you know, or you can think of that each one has a possibility of being yeah, I think that's the better way of looking at it. Each one has a possibility of being proper or improper, right? And then, so total you will have 2 times 2 times 2, total 8 possibilities. Okay, that's a fairly large number of possibilities, and that's exactly where you can split the class in 8 groups, etc., and let each group come up with examples. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is important to focus on the different possibilities. Okay. Similarly, when it comes to integers, again you will have 8 possibilities if you know, discount 0 for the moment, because 0 does make life a bit easier, right? You'll have less groups to deal with. So so here, you know, we are showing you one possibility of negative plus positive, if I remember correctly. Now again, the PPT could have been improved and I could have shown you 0 pairs vanishing out, but I haven't got that time yet. Okay. So, and then you can combine this. Maybe I can improve on the PPT next month. Okay, once this all this moving business etc. gets settled. Same way you can start with 4 and -10, combine them first, okay, and then add -7 to the pi. Okay, when you want to do this physically, have the counters, okay, and just mix the piles together. So that's what it is. Now, as far as associative property is concerned, it's the same thing with lengths. Unfortunately, I am yet to create those visuals. Okay, so if you guys can do it, please go ahead and do it. Same idea, you are adding one after the other. So there are total 8 possibilities. So, or even more maybe. So I haven't done it yet. It is in my head, but having seen how commutativity is done and how associativity is done, you can try to do a similar thing using the number line and sign length. So anybody who is willing to do that, please take a shot and send me what you can or have done. Okay. Now let's move on to multiplication, or maybe I should just pause here. Any question? At this point?
Swati?
Yes.
For rational numbers and real numbers, we cannot do with the counters. We have to use only number lines.
Yes, because see, those are because rationals and reals are not discrete.
Yeah.
So there's no way you can use counters.
I'm thinking of that, how to use that counter for rational numbers.
You can't. That's it.
Oh.
Pure, plain, simple, you can't.
Okay.
Because see, what happens is when you use counters, in the discrete model for fraction, every time the denominator changes, your whole changes. How many counters make the whole? It changes. Yeah. When you're dealing with something like this, properties of an operation, you need the whole to be stable. You need one whole that is going to work for all combination of numbers, etc. So that is why the discrete model of fractions using counters to do rational numbers won't work. Okay. Negativity is not the issue because you can use colored counters. You can use one color for positive, one for negative. That's not the issue. It's the denseness that comes in the way. Okay. So let me ask you, one second. So when we did the commutativity of reals and rationals, okay, so let me just show you this slide. Okay, so what is the center of rotation?
It's 0.
It's not 0. It's not so universal. It depends on A and B. You have seen the rotation. So when you rotate the top, by 180 degree, it becomes the bottom one.
It started with A plus B.
Right. So you see the original and the image, and from there you have to guess about which point it was rotated.
It's A plus B.
It's not A plus B. See, if you rotate it about A plus B, okay, then the resulting image will have a portion left of A plus B and a portion right of A plus B, right?
Yes.
But if you see here, there's nothing to the left of A plus B. So that's why A plus B is not the correct answer. Okay, I'm going to be evil and let you think a bit more. Okay, I'll give you the answer on Monday, but let's see if any of you can get it till then. I'm going to share with you this PPT as it is. Maybe later next month, I'm going to send a more polished version. Okay, but give me that time. Okay, I'm having a literally moving experience right now. It will be for the next 2 weeks. Okay, moving on to multiplication. So for any multiplication of the form A times B, A is shown along the vertical dimension and B is shown along the horizontal dimension. Okay, and you will notice at one point I have broken this, and I promise to fix that. Okay, but for now just bear with me. Okay. So this is 5 by 3. Okay, this is where we use the array. Okay, and this is 3 by 5. Okay, now again a rotation, but this time in case of commutativity of addition, it was a 180 degree rotation. In case of commutativity with respect to multiplication, it's a 90 degree rotation. Okay, notice that again this will work for any two whole numbers. 0 definitely is the trivial case, but I mean, think about any two whole numbers. The multiplication can be visualized in terms of an array, and all you have to do is rotate that array and the numbers change and the two factors change their position. Okay, so same thing, fraction. So first we showed 2/3, and then we have taken 4/7 of 2/3. Okay, so this is the resulting product. Okay, and on the other hand, oops, 1 second.
I will stop the meeting and restart it again. Please join the same link.